have a little more clarity on what caused the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. This was the officer who died shortly after the Capitol riots that took place on January 6th. Now, a medical examiner has ruled that Sicknick died of strokes or natural causes and not by homicide, which was what everyone previously thought, based on statements by the Capitol Police, by the way. So Francisco J. Diaz, the medical examiner, said the autopsy found no evidence that the 42-year-old officer suffered an allergic reaction to chemical irritants, which Diaz said would have caused Sicknick's throat to quickly seize. Diaz also said there was no evidence of internal or external injuries. So just to back up for a second, when we first learned about Brian Sicknick's death, it was reported that he was bludgeoned by a fire extinguisher. Then the story changed, and investigators thought that maybe the bear spray that was sprayed into his face, and that did happen, we have video evidence of that, caused his illness, which led to his death. But now, based on what we're learning from this medical examiner, that is not the case. He did not have an allergic reaction to it, and he actually died from natural causes. Sicknick suffered 2 strokes at the base of the brainstem caused by a clot in an artery that supplies blood to that area of the body. And Sicknick had returned to the Capitol Police headquarters after the attack when he collapsed and was admitted to the hospital. He died the next day. So the 2 individuals who were seen on video spraying him with the bear spray are now unlikely to face any type of homicide charges as a result of what we're now learning from the medical examiner.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that we understand the specifics of how Brian Sicknick died, but at the same time, I think you would be hard pressed, and I think there is a compelling case to be made in court that the actions of the insurrectionists, the Capitol rioters, had everything to do with the fact that he suffered a stroke soon after, whether or not it was instantaneous, whether or not like he was hit with a fire extinguisher. Obviously, those are awful things, and one of them happened and one of them didn't happen, as you're clarifying. But again, I think that some folks, the right, will probably look at this and be like, see, nobody died. Anyway, doopy doopy doo. Nothing happened, no laws broken. No, I think that absolutely there could be a cause and effect here of someone suffering that kind of intimidation, violence, fear, and then later having a stroke and dying. But again, we are experiencing a good day of news when someone actually is brought to justice, and I'm not going forward holding my breath when it comes to holding a lot of these rioters accountable.
Right, yeah, I think you're right in that assessment. And listen, 2 things can be true. He can die of natural causes, but at the end of the day, what happened in the Capitol that day was wrong. The same right wingers who are trying to make it seem like this is no big deal because his death was by natural causes are the same people who would totally justify cops gunning down anyone else who's like basically using chemical irritants in the face of these cops or doing anything else to assault the cops. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. The right wing likes to justify police using brutality if the person who's been brutalized doesn't listen to the commands of the cop. But you can't then turn around and say that the actions of the rioters were totally fine. Don't minimize that. You can tell the truth about what's actually happening with Brian Sicknick's health and what led to his death, while also wanting to hold rioters accountable for what they did. Because the fact of the matter is, we have so much evidence that there were rioters there who were assaulting cops, who were engaging in criminality, and they should be held accountable for that. Don't go overboard, don't needlessly and gratuitously charge people for things they didn't do. But anyone who claims that what happened in the Capitol is no big deal, and we should just kind of minimize what these individuals chanting "Hang Mike Pence" did is just wrong. It's just wrong. Stop trying to whitewash what happened that day.
Yeah. I do think there is, I still think he has a strong case. I mean, to be honest with you, if I were his lawyer or like his family and wanted to sue Donald Trump, right? As I know some of the Capitol Police officers have been suing Trump, I think there is a compelling case. And the problem is that every time someone dies, I mean, look, the defense for Derek Chauvin in the case of George Floyd, we're trying to blame George Floyd and his heart conditions or all the ailments that he had. And it's the same thing. If a murder or a death doesn't fit your political ideology, you will justify it. And time and again, so sadly, the victims, the person who is dead, is not around, obviously, to defend their own name. And we're there from Mike Brown on down to George Floyd, defending someone who cannot defend themselves and sort of, using our like just BS barometer around morals to say who is a worthy victim and who is not a worthy victim. And you see it time and time again. And especially with police brutality, when folks like for Adam Toledo outside of Chicago, 13 years old, a lot of folks say, well, he had a gun. So his arms were up when he was shot dead. That is the bottom line. He did not deserve to die. Does someone deserve to die? I thought the right was always the party of like due process and innocent until proven guilty. Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you are a white man. Yeah, no, this just in, if you represent my values only.
I mean, yeah, they're also the same people who claim that they're warriors for free speech, but then they want to crack the skulls of anyone who engages with the BDS movement. They want to literally outlaw it and pressure Congress to pass resolutions condemning it. It's of course, there's a ton of hypocrisy. You certainly see it on both sides. I'm not trying to, clear Democrats of it, but when it comes to the right wing, it is kind of miraculous how on one hand they'll focus on violent rioting when it comes to Black Lives Matter, and then simultaneously minimize the rioting and looting that took place in the Capitol on January 6th, which by the way was fueled by this desire to overturn the results of our democratic process and the outcome of the general election, which, it's a little different than people demonstrating in order to reform policing, which actually is a genuine problem in this country.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.